So it's Blackberry Harvesting Day today, and we've just got a bit of a gap. It's been mainly drizzling throughout the day, but we've got a bit of an opportunity to come up to the allotment now and do a picking. And it's about just under a week since I did the previous video clip. And the wonderful thing about it is that all the blackberries haven't ripened at the same time. You can see that some are perfect for picking now, whilst you'll be leaving behind others that will ripen shortly. And this particular hedge that we've had for a number of years, as I've said in previous videos, is one that tends to give us a crop every other year, mainly because of the fact that I hack it right back to the base. And for those of you who are thinking that it's not the biggest area, but it is loaded, it's because I weave the blackberries around this fencing and increase the productivity of the area. So that's something that could be tried. So I'll get on with the rest of the blackberry harvest, and we'll come back and see how that looks. Right, we're almost done, and I'm just at this last little bit here, and the way I'm gonna show you how I've been picking these blackberries without getting scratches on my hands is that I use the berries themselves to lift and reveal the ones that are ready that we might otherwise miss, and get them like so. Same again, lift, and then just gently, a bit like I demonstrated on the tomato harvesting video. They're almost ready to just fall off. And you're using the berries to actually help you get around a bit. So I've used this one that's not ready to pick, and I'm using it to raise the rest of the clump. Oh, it's come away. Now that one wasn't properly ready, and you know they're ready when they're, as the name suggests, black. So that's a pretty decent harvest for our first major picking of the year. And as I've said before, berries, blackberries, blueberries, they're all wonderful, nutritious and healthy produce to grow if you can. And this is one of those quintessential British seasonal foods that I think if you want to get started with, you should give it some consideration. As I say, the main problem might be fears about these sharp thorns, but if you're able to manage the area well, particularly a part of the garden or allotment that's not really in everyday use, then get yourself a blackberry bush planted. So I hope that's inspired you to maybe have a go at growing blackberries yourself, and if not, then get a hold of them from somewhere and add them to things like ice creams, and I know that you can make blackberry and apple pie. I'm sure there's people out there on the internet, on YouTube, who'll give you advice on how to use blackberries in recipes. That sounds like my little daughter's got some ideas of her own. So yeah, blackberries, it's not bad at all, is it? It's literally a couple of days after the harvest video that we made, and this is what I meant about the fact that you get consecutive harvest, because the ripening of blackberries is variable. you'll have some berries that are ripe and ready to pick, and others that'll need just that little bit longer. And that's great because it just means you keep coming back. And we had some of the blackberries that we picked the other evening with ice cream, or at least I did. I think most of the family just ate them fresh. We've just entered the second week of August, and we're about to do another tomato harvest, and before you realise it, the harvest becomes quite an accelerated thing. You find that it literally takes a couple of days, and you need to pick things when they're at the best. These tomatoes are the Christmas grape tomatoes, which is a variety that we've grown for the first time this year, and I'm more than satisfied with them. We've done a taste test. I'll just get on with the rest of the harvesting along this area. That one's gone past its best. It's overripe and it's burst. And for those of you who handle tomatoes for the first time, you'll see these yellowy marks that you get from the plant. A tomato smell. Okay, I think we'll just get the last of these ripe tomatoes and put them in the bag. That's not a bad haul at all, is it? Now, I know there are one or two of you who've asked about the bottle gourd this year, and it's not that I've not been trying to grow bottle gourd. We've not featured it simply for the fact that we didn't have anything to show, and as was the case with a number of other people, we ended up with a number of one type of flower and not the other. Ironically, this year we ended up with a large number of female flowers, but not much in the way of male flowers, and so we lost about 5 or 6 flowers that didn't develop because they weren't pollinated. But just in the last couple of weeks, we've had both male and female flowers emerging, and as such 1 or 2 of them have pollinated. So inshallah this will develop into a decent sized bottle gourd. It's got the right shape and form, and there's one other here at the top, but the signs aren't good. I'm not sure this one's going to keep, so we might end up just having our hopes rested with this particular bottle gourd. But there you go, I've featured a bottle gourd on Ali's allotment again this year. We weren't going to let that go too easily. I know some people have had their bottle gourds and eaten them during Eid and before Eid and after Eid, and we're normally about a month or so behind most people in the Midlands, and certainly much further south. But nevertheless, even for our own standards here in the northwest of England, this is delayed. And the initial reason was that the first batch of seeds just didn't germinate, and about 3-4 weeks later I had to sow the seeds again. So it's been a bit of a journey, but let's hope that this one develops.